class of 85 and friends.
Yeah! Welcome back to Making Waves with the Hen Hud class of 85 and your friends. I'm your host, Dave San Marco, because the boss of this joint, Diane D. Money Malice, is not here tonight. She couldn't make it, basically. And also, you know, the target of most of the ire of our beautiful Karen Quinn, Stuart Muir, also couldn't be here. But guess what? We did bring the great coach and great basketball player from Hen Hud up in the joint, T-Bell. What's up, Holmes?
Hey, Dave. Good to see you. Again, use that term "great" loosely. You're using it loosely.
You know what?
Embrace
Ain't
it,
nobody
T-Bell.
gonna
Embrace it.
Yeah, nobody's going to take that away from me, man. The great T-Bell. And the beautiful and talented and very successful realtor. We need to get her joint up there. I'll post it at the bottom of the screen sometime. KQ, Karen Quinn Kloss.
Hey. Thank you.
Namaste.
So happy to be here. Excited for tonight. I haven't spoken to Sherman in such a long time.
Dude, he was like so cool, you know, when I was a senior. Obviously, he wouldn't have known me when I was a freshman in Hen Hud. I didn't go to Blue Mountain, so the time that I got to meet our special guest tonight was as a senior, and what a gentleman he was. And I think I told T-Bell that I believe that he probably could have coached girls basketball as a junior at Hen Hud when he was playing basketball there. So anyway, so yeah, we are making waves. We're down 2, but we're going to put on a show for it. We're going to talk about this gentleman's career as an athlete, also as a championship coach at Hen Hud, as a Hall of Famer himself, and about the amazing coaches and 5 ladies that we have there going to be inducted into the Hendrick Hudson High School Hall of Fame this year in 2022. Super excited about that. And we also endeavor to have all 5 of them on Making Waves. Okay. So without further ado, Hen Hud, Montrose, Buchanan, Verplank, and the Outer Territories, put your hands together for Coach Ken Sherman! Woo! Can I get an amen for Coach Sherman?
Dave,
yes!
That is some introduction, boy. That is great. I can't wait to get started.
The class of 86 is on. Yes!
We're ready to go.
Yeah, he's going to get the place of honor right here. Y'all going to see my bald head disappear into the ether here, and we're going to get Ken up there. Look at him, man. His hair looks great. I'll tell you what, that's going to be the thing that's going to annoy me the most, is that your hair looks great, Ken.
But it's all gray.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. I mean, look what's going on here. I just, I had
it's
like
all
4
gray.
of them.
But
Yeah.
can I say what my husband always says about that?
Yes,
Better
yes,
to be
ma'am.
gray than to go away.
I agree.
There you go.
He's also follically challenged, like Dave.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I get a lot of flack for it being gray and white, and I said, as long as I have it, I have no problem with it.
Thank you, Coach. You see, you made a lot of sense. So, okay, so Ken Sherman, the junior, at Hen Hud, class of 86, stepping out onto the floor to coach the girls' varsity basketball team. How would that have?
Well, the coaching is awesome, and I'll say I kind of stumbled on it. Mm-hmm. Tom Baker got me started on the junior varsity level 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. I started coaching my daughter, which was awesome, my oldest daughter at the time. And then the coach left her senior year, and Tommy approached me and said, would you be interested in coaching? And I said, I'm interested. I just want to make sure my daughter is okay with it.
Yeah.
And she was thrilled. She goes, I've known no other coach. I coached her in CYO, rec leagues, all that growing up. So she was more than willing. And I said to her, I said, I'm going to be coach at practice and I'll be dad at home. And she was fine with it. And it's been a great I can't believe it's been 14 years, Dave and Tommy and Karen. It's flown by. I love it. I can remember the first time I got my first paycheck, and because I've been volunteering for so long with recreation and CYO, and I'm coaching all three of my daughters. And I'm getting paid for this now. I can't believe it. Not that we get paid a lot of money for the amount of hours we put in, right, Tom? But,
don't look at the hourly rate.
No, because you're doing all the off-season stuff. But it's been a great 14 years, and then I was fortunate enough, Dave, in 2019, 2020 season, we won the gold ball at County Center. And just saying it still gives me chills because we were the first ones, female or male basketball teams, to bring the gold ball home to Hendrick Hudson. And it was a dream. It was a dream come true. So,
Coach. Coach, first of all, this is extremely heartwarming, but you missed the question. The question was, so Coach, pay attention. We're practicing. All right, we're going to blow the whistle. Is how would the junior Ken Sherman have done if we put him out there to coach the varsity basketball team when you were a junior at Hen Hud?
You know what? The coach for that male or female team?
Well, I'm going to say female just because that's where you are now, but it and just because the guys were older than you, there was seniors there. But let's just say it was the varsity women at Hen Hud.
I probably would have done it because Michelle Staten was an unbelievable player there, and I would have just gave the ball to her, and she would have done just fine. That's really what George Kamara did, anyways.
I think you could have done it. I mean, you just had a level of maturity. So I told Tom, I thought you could have. I thought you could have coached. You probably could have done a respectable job coaching the girls' varsity basketball team when you were like 17. So.
I would have liked it, and Tommy would have been in the same boat because my sophomore year, his junior year, we were under the end of the bench together watching them play at County Center, and his knowledge of the game is vast. He's got a vast knowledge of the game of basketball.
He's amazing. That's why we love Tom.
Yes.
I want, as I told, if anybody has anything before we get going, I wanted to let me just see. Somebody made a comment in the chat. Hey, Danny O'Brien's here. Hello, Dan. Don't worry, Dave. One day we'll make the whole thing. I'll tell you what, Dan and I, as wrestlers, that's not happening. But I love you, Dan. And I was JV as a senior. That's how bad I was. But that's because Bruce was so much better than me. But anyway, so if anybody has any thing before that, I wanted to kind of get into Ken's career as an athlete before we go anywhere because I think it's noteworthy. So if no further ado, go for it.
Go right ahead.
Please do. Tell us about your career as an athlete at Hen Hud and perhaps what that meant to you. How formative was it? Give us those kinds of things.
I mean, I love playing sports. I played soccer, basketball, and baseball at Hendrick Hudson. It all started modified. There was 7th and 8th grade, Tommy, if you remember.
Yep.
But as an 8th grader, you could play on the freshman team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really when it started. I started playing up to the freshman level at baseball and basketball.
Wow.
Soccer, I did not. And that's where it started. And I couldn't wait to start playing, especially then, because we did not have the opportunities to play in all these AAU leagues that they had. So high school was it. You couldn't wait. You played a lot of. I go to Tommy's garage and play in his backyard all the time, but you couldn't play, any league games until high school. That was the formal games were at that point. So I played. Like I said, soccer, basketball, and baseball. Played basically the JV levels my 8th and 9th grade years. And then soccer, I was fortunate enough to play as a sophomore, junior, and senior for soccer 3 seasons with Paul Natali. And then I played basketball, 9th and 10th grade, junior varsity, and then 11th and 12th grade varsity basketball. And then baseball, I got moved up as a sophomore also. So I had another 3 seasons with Paul Natali. So there was times I thought I should have made the Hall of Fame just for having 6 seasons with Paul Natali.
Coach Nate,
and I would tell him that. I would tell him that I see him a lot, and I would say that too.
I think there'd be a long line behind you that would also agree with that.
But before we move on from that, though, Ken, can you remember back to what that was like at Blue Mountain when you were getting ready to go up and play with the kids at the high school? Was there like a nervousness or an intimidation?
Absolutely.
What was your attitude?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous because you had to take a separate bus. And there wasn't that many other kids doing it. I had Brian Kelly with me for the basketball team. We were going up. I'm still friends with Brian today. But definitely nervous going over for both the basketball and baseball, because you feel like you have to prove yourself when you're the younger ones going up with the older kids. But it was great. Like I said, that was my time to go play. Like I just wanted to play soccer. I like soccer, but I basically got played soccer to get in shape for basketball, and then I love baseball too. So. Played all 3. When we played soccer, I joked about Coach Natali, but he had us in shape for soccer games. Boy, we ran, and he would tell you, I don't know the X's and O's of soccer, but I'm going to have you guys in shape, and I'm going to have you ready to play, and he did. So I got to play with Stu Muir. I wish he was here. We could talk about it. Yeah. And it was great playing. Stu could play. He was great.
You guys had some great teams.
We had great teams with Chris Staten and all of them. But my true love was basketball. Tommy and I were fortunate to play with Coach Aarons, for Coach Aarons rather, and Coach Aarons would have to kick us out of the gym. Yeah. Back in those days, he would have the key. And he would be like, "All right, guys, you got to get out of here." Nowadays, I don't have a key. So we have set practices. You have to be in here and out here at this time. Probably would have been easier for Coach Aarons at that time, but we would stay. I would stay play with Danny, Kevin Keon, Chris State. We'd stay forever and just keep shooting the ball around. So we loved it. We never had. My junior and senior, we didn't have great teams, but we had winning teams. Like we were always 12-8. It was tough playing against Peekskill. They had some great squads.
We're in a tough league.
We were in a really tough league, but loved every second of it. So I was fortunate enough. I made all league and all county, and I made all league and all county in basketball. In soccer, I was all league. What was interesting about soccer, Nate would tell you this story. It was my junior year going into my senior year, our goalie got kicked in the head, Matt Gahagan, and he had a concussion, and we didn't have a backup goal. And he said, "Is anyone interested in being a backup goalie?" And I raised my hand. I said, I'll try it. And literally for 3/4 of the season, I was the goalie. He moved me, and he thanked me for that, because he felt like I gave up. I could have made all section as a midfielder, but I played goalie and did what I could do for goal, and I actually loved it to the point where I was like, I should have been a goalie. I'm
tall, I'm rangy, I've got good,
good hand-eye coordination. I should have played goal instead of using my feet in this dumb sport. But
was your senior year or your junior year?
Excuse me?
This was your senior or junior year?
No, that was my senior year. That's what he was saying. Yeah, because I played sophomore year and junior year. I played midfield, and then I was going to be, a senior playing midfield and having 3 years under my belt. He was like, "You probably forfeited, making all county." But I didn't care about that, because I said mostly I was playing soccer to get in shape for basketball. So that was the big goal for me, is just do that for my basketball seasons. And so it was great. And then baseball, we had a good year my senior year with Coach Natali. I think our record was 17-3, but then we had an early exit in sectionals, unfortunately, because it comes down to the pitching then, Tommy, right?
Yeah.
Who was your best pitcher junior year and senior year?
See, you know what the funny thing is? I played with Mike Dixon also. I don't know if you guys know Mike. So he was my year in 1986. He remembers everything from basketball. He was on the basketball team and soccer team. He remembers games, and he'll be like, you remember when we played Sleepy Hollow? And I'll be like, no, I don't remember. But Steve Grossman was one of our aces. Mike also pitched our senior year as well. When I was a sophomore and I got pulled up, Chris Staten was a big time pitcher, and Jimmy Simmons was a good pitcher. So that's how I played. So Jimmy Simmons was the third baseman at the time.
Yep.
And then when he pitched, I played. Now I played third. Nate pitched him every other game. I played like half the season.
So much for
that's great coaching.
I'll tell you what, I am not going to hog all the Ken Sherman. I just want to say hello from my classmate.
That's great coaching.
Who was with me up in Mr. LaValle's class. Danny O'Brien says hello to the whole team here. And let me pass it over to Tommy Bell, a legit athlete.
So let's get into the coaching before we get into the Hall of Fame. It takes a tremendous amount of commitment, not only from you to coach, and juggle your full-time job, which we'll get into also, but your family. You already spoke about your daughters. How did your wife feel about you getting into coaching, the hours, especially around Christmas time and Thanksgiving? I always said this when I was coaching high school sports. It's the only sport that has 3 major holidays, right? You start out, you have Thanksgiving, then you have Christmas, and then right when sectionals hit, you have what do they call it, midwinter recess or whatever.
Yes.
And you're always juggling stuff. I'm talking about your players in terms of like vacations and stuff. But how did it impact your family? Obviously, your daughters played, but was Kim on board right away, or did it take a while? How'd that all work out? The family dynamic.
Well, she was on board right away, and thankfully, because I liked it so much. Yeah. But it is a lot of time, and I don't think she realized it right away. Like it's not just basketball practice and basketball games. It's summer workouts, fall workouts. It's also, I get this at work and at home. It's basketball, Ken, now, from November to the end of February, where you're going to practices, you're now scout, you got to go scout for your next game. So you're going to, all right, I'm going to Nyack to watch because we're playing them Thursday. I know I had practice. And so I don't think she knew it was going to be that much time. But at every postseason dinner, I'm sure to thank her because she lets me do what I love to do. So, I've been very fortunate with that. I've been fortunate with that. And like you said, Tommy, with, my other family member, my daughters on board, they were on board with it too. Cause I was able to coach both of the younger two. So Kelsey's my oldest, Kennedy and Cameron. Yeah. They were all on board with it. So I was coaching then, Tommy, and I was still doing CYO with my younger two. It was crazy. But again, that's how much I love being in the gym. I mean, Mr. Aarons, called us gym rats. I love being in the gym. So that's how it was.
Just take me through a little history here. So I coached at Poughkeepsie from 90 to 2003, and I coached against Mr. Camaro mostly.
Correct.
And I think Al Hansen, right, was his assistant.
Correct.
So who came in after them? Was that who you replaced? Whoever came after them?
No, so I don't know who came in before. Ben Martucci came in.
Yes.
Before me. He's now the boys coach at Croton.
Yep, I know Ben.
And he was great.
Yeah.
He put in a lot of time, but his whole dream, he grew up just like me. My whole dream was to come up and coach basketball in Hen Hud. That was a dream of mine.
Yeah, me too.
And the whole dream of mine, Tommy, was to be the coach of the boys team.
Yep.
And then I had 3 girls. So that came along and the opportunity came forward and I was so happy. But Ben Martucci, there was two. There was a guy from Yorktown, I believe.
Okay.
That came in before Martucci. Martucci was there 2 years. I was there for 2 years as the JV coach, and then his whole dream was to go to Croton. That job came to fruition for him, so I was able to do it. So it was great. It's been great, and I had some good team. My first year, my daughter's team was very good. We had seven seniors at one time. I have one senior on the team this time. Like the girls never stayed together, but I coached all 7 of them in CYO. So nice. They kind of stayed together. But we in their senior year, we lost to Lakeland, who won the states that year with Tori Jarosz. I don't know if you know
she
her.
played at Marist, yeah.
Right, she played at Marist. We lost to them in the semifinal game, and the coach to this day says, "You played us the hardest through the whole state tournament." He goes, "You guys played us." This Coach Fallow, and that was a great compliment. And that was my first year, so I was like, "All right, so we're on the right track here."
So. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So 1990, I'm a young knucklehead wanting to coach boys basketball at Poughkeepsie High. And unfortunately, there wasn't a job, but I got offered the varsity girls job. And my first reaction was, no, I don't want to coach girls, right? And then my wife, who played Division I basketball, was like, you idiot. They're not girls, they're athletes. They're athletes. So speaking of, like, how do you juggle not only your daughters, but how do you juggle, the female athlete as opposed to the male athlete, as well as, trying to get them to do what you need done?
Well, as far as coaching both male and females, I have never coached males.
Oh, okay.
I've only coached females. And I've always had a female coach with me. And here's where coaching your daughters came in to be a big role and a big factor for me. My daughters would say, hey, stay away from Maggie today. She's had a bad day.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, because by no means am I Mr. Nice Guy as a coach. I push the buttons when I have to push the buttons. I'm a yeller, but they were great with that. All 3 of my daughters, they'd be like, if they saw me going at them once, they'd be like, nah, not today, or just different things. Also different things that I don't necessarily see as far as having my assistant coach now is Megan Boyle, who I coached. She was
perfect. My
daughter's friend. She was one of the seniors that I coached the first time. And I'll remember this. I was at a Peekskill game. We're playing Peekskill. I'm sitting down. I'm doing the book. She walks in. She came in late. She goes, "What's with Taylor?" I'm like, no idea what's the matter with Taylor. He goes, she's up in the bleachers crying. I'm like she saw that right away. I'm not even looking at that.
Right.
And I said, well, go find out. Ended up being a boy thing. So, that's what you don't get that with boys. I don't think you don't get that, but having the right, assistant with you has been great. And my daughter is one of my assistants too. Now she's the JV coach.
That's awesome.
And Tommy, it's great. I'm in the gym with her every day.
So cool.
It's great. And she's engaged and set to be married in next August. And we have a blast. And the other day, in this day and age, we played Somers the other day in the opening round of the Briarcliff tournament. She had an away game against Somers. We played Somers at home. We both won in overtime. And she, she's calling me on the way home from her game. It was the same night.
Yeah.
She's calling me. She goes, "It was great. We watched your game because, they have this local live TV where you can watch games live." The JV team was watching it on the bus.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's just,
well,
I'm very fortunate.
I'll tell you, having coached against Hen Hud many years ago and, just following high school sports still, you've done an amazing job there. It's uncharted waters, Hen Hud winning a sectional championship in basketball. So you should be very proud of that. Your whole family should be proud of it because it's really a family undertaking from your wife to your daughters and everything. It really sounds like you have it going in the right direction. So no matter how long you're going to stay there, Kenny, keep it going and God bless you, man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Coach Tom, I want to say two things. From Ken, I want to say, in military parlance, we would say that your daughters as athletes were a force multiplier for your coaching effort because they were able to enable you to see things on the landscape that you couldn't have seen. And so I would bro handshake each one of your daughters right now. For you, Coach Tom Bell, I'd like to ask you, and there's no rules in podcasting. I ask my co-host questions all the time on my other podcasts, and I don't care if the guest, they get upset. But and not that Ken would, but like when we have a high-profile UFO guest, my co-hosts are so interesting, I might just decide to ask them a question right in the middle of an interview. So, Tom, I would ask you, what was that like to coach against Hen Hud? You said that your goal was to become a Hen Hud coach. So what was that like when you had to do that as a professional?
From 90 to 2003, when I did the girls at Poughkeepsie High, it was really amazing. I was always blessed. I had my wife as my assistant coach. She was the JV coach and whatever. And I had great support staff that would travel with us on the bus. So, when we went down to Hen Hud, my wife and I drove and followed the bus down, and we would play the game, and then we go to my parents' house for dinner afterwards. I didn't have any kids then, obviously. But it was amazing.
An emotional standpoint.
Yeah, it was insane. Like walking up those steps to get into the gym was like, this is where I always wanted to coach. And now I'm coaching here, like against them, but and coaching against guys like Camaro. And then I'd walk in the gym and see Mr. Aarons and Mr. Mengel there with their practices. It was just insane. Like Ken, I talk about this all the time. We had such great coaches.
Yes.
The ones you mentioned, as well as like Coach Anna Carrico and so many of the other females, Bailey and so on. We had so many great people that were so influential. But Dave, it was really amazing, and it was nice because my family, my there's still a big Bell contingent.
Absolutely.
Gagliardi and other last names now, but there's a big contingency there. They would all come to the games, and it was absolutely amazing to be able to coach in front of my brothers and my parents. And so that answered that question. But
so you're able to bury it. Basically, you were able to bury the emotions of coaching at your school and go, I'm here as a professional, and I'm going to put on the best.
Yeah, and our program at the time was really, really, really strong, and they weren't particularly strong at that time. And my niece I coached against my niece Stacy, and we're trying to keep the score down at the same time as we're still trying to win. And so there was a lot of emotional pieces to it, Dave.
Tommy had a powerhouse there.
We had good teams, yeah.
It's almost like we're not a powerhouse, but Poughkeepsie, the level of Poughkeepsie basketball has gone.
Yeah, unfortunately,
down in the last few years.
Yeah, hopefully they can get it back someday. But we were very fortunate. We had a lot of really good kids. I think the fact that my wife was there, she was just, she was their mom to all those girls and stuff. And
that's awesome.
I don't think I was dad. I was more like this idiot yelling at them, but no, it was all good though.
Well, and that's getting back to the dad and mom thing, or dad and mom for you, but dad for me. Like, I knew my daughter got it. I was coaching her JV, Briarcliff JV tournament, and I laid into her before halftime. And it was to the point where it was a JV tournament. There was like 10 people there, so my wife heard it. So we're going to get our Christmas tree from that tournament. We're going up. We get in the car. We drive in. We won the game. We get in the car. And my wife turns to me. She goes, "That was a little much before halftime." And my daughter's in the back seat. She goes, "Ma, that was at the game. We're going to get a Christmas tree now." Like, she knew she got it. So that's when you got to give her a bro handshake for that, Dave, because that's when I knew she could take whatever I was going to give to her and take it and make herself a better basketball player. Mm-hmm. And when we go home, we're going to have a Coke and a pizza pie and enjoy the rest of the night. So it was great.
That's awesome.
So then, Ken, you're going to show up at the Paradise to our summer dinner.
I'm in.
And then bring your daughters so I can do some bro handshakes.
Definitely.
All three of them.
Definitely.
All right, cool, man. I will make sure you're included. I would love to have some 86ers there, and I would love to have 86ers come on the show.
Great.
And basically what I asked AZ, Zagoria, your classmate,
yes.
I said, if you could have someone interviewed from your class that you would want us to do a deep dive on that individual, who would that be? and I haven't heard back from him. So, although he did appear on our show. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm in touch with Adam. I see him a couple times where we both vacation down the Jersey Shore. I would like to hear who his answer would be. Also, we had a talented soccer team, like you said, Tom, and there's a bunch of 86ers that we just did like a World Cup. It was like a pool. We did a World Cup pool, and George Hatzman was in it. Steve Benjamin. Yeah. Jerry DeCola. Jerry DeCola was a great soccer player. John, I don't know if I said John Fair, but there's a bunch of people that are doing it. Jed Cutler, Mike Zeitlin, they're all, on the soccer team. So there's a bunch of guys, you could get together. That could be a whole nother show, all the soccer teams. And they got some nice Paul Natale stories too.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to do one of those shows if you want to get all those guys on and we could just kick it around.
But I'd be interested to see what Adam would have to say.
Yeah, we can get, we can get 10 people in the studio. So yeah, we can definitely accommodate. The problem is I shouldn't say problem. It's a good problem to have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5 hosts of the show. So we get 5 people on screen. We get 5 86ers.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask so KQ is supposed to ask this question, but she's not checking the private chat.
What?
See the private chat? T Bell sent you a message.
Let me wake her up.
I said full screen.
Yeah, so click private chat.
Oh, so you guys just want me to talk I'm just enjoying the conversation. I really am. But so about the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Whose brainchild was this, and how did this come about?
Okay, great question, Karen. Great question.
Thank you. Yeah,
this was the brainchild of Tommy Baker, who's now the athletic director at Hendrick Hudson. He was back in 2005 too. So he came up to me with the idea that he wanted to start the Athletic Hall of Fame at Hendrick Hudson.
What class was he? Because I don't know that name.
Tennis, right?
So it's interesting you say that. He went to Walter.
I thought of that on my own.
Tommy Baker went to Walter Panis, but he's now the athletic director at Hendrick Hudson.
Oh, okay.
All right.
A Panther in Sailor territory.
He's a Panther, but he graduated, I believe, 1 year. He might be an 87, maybe an 88. I don't know if he's 1 or 2 years younger, but anyway, It was his idea in 2005 to start the Athletic Hall of Fame. He had seen it in other school districts, and he wanted us to get things going. But the thing was, he had to put some bylaws together, and he can't run it. It had to be, through either alumni, teachers, but he couldn't do it. So we literally got. I put this together. This was our first program from 2006. Now we met in September of 2005 to get things going. And we had a huge turnout in the auditorium of people that wanted to be on the committee, people looking to help. Mm-hmm. So we had to form a dinner committee, a scholarship committee, a whole bunch of different committees, so we had different people had different roles. He asked me to be the chairperson. So I was the chairperson of the time. For some reason, I took that role on. But I was the chairperson. Bob Wheeler was the vice chairman. Doreen Cole was the secretary, and Mark Green was the treasurer. And then we had over 25 people on the committee, which was great. The first year was so good. So we ended up, we had people that were nominated. We had a nominating committee. We must have had, I might be exaggerating, but 75 to 80 people that were nominated. So we had to break that down. And there were some no-brainers. We inducted 10 members that first year and the 1966 football team. The first dinner was at Crystal Bay, and it was packed. The place was packed. And I was so proud of what we put together.
Yeah, it should be.
And so I'm going to just go through the class. It was George Kiefer,
Yep.
Robert Rushak, Edward Keon, Edward Lent, Ed Snyder, Bruce Fulgham, who you had on,
Yep.
which was a great show, John Jacoby, Mark Catano, Kathleen Staton,
Wow.
Rob Cole, and Anthony Alberti.
Wow.
And the stories, what made the night was each story. Everybody, we thought, oh, everyone, we didn't say, limit what you want to, speak. Your speeches can be however long you want them to be. And then by the end of the night, I was like, oh my gosh, is this going too long? And I leaned over to ask someone at our table, and they're like, no, this is awesome. Like each story, each person had different stories. There was different type of athletes. Anthony Alberti was a wrestler. John Jacoby had different stories. He was a 3-sport athlete. It was just a great night. And so we did that for like 5 years. And then all of a sudden, a lot of the help started going away because it was a lot of work. So all of a sudden, we only had 2 people on the nominating committee, and we only had 2 people on the dinner committee. And then we still kept doing it. And then COVID hit, and then it was really tough. Now it's really just a really very small committee that Tommy does put together. We nominate, people are nominated. We come up, but this whole thing was Tommy Baker's brainchild. He does a great job of promoting Hen Hud athletics in general, not just with the Hall of Fame, with the Con Ed Award winners that we have banners in the gym of all the. He promotes Hen Hud sports, almost like he was an alumni, and it wouldn't happen if it weren't for him. And thusly, we're having an induction ceremony this Friday.
And by the way, Ken, if you guys are in need of more volunteers in the future to be part of it, to do some work, I know somebody that likes work. I have 3 podcasts, for goodness sake. So I would definitely volunteer to be part of that.
Great.
So,
we will put you down.
Yeah, I mean, if a meathead like me could help, I would love to.
Well, that was the thing. We not all the people that were on the committee were athletes of Hen Hud. We had this one gentleman who didn't graduate from Hen Hud but wanted to be on the committee. We had to go through the bylaws to see
Could he?
We're like, if he wants to help, he's on. I'm like, we're not going to turn people away. So yeah, we'll take anyone that's willing to help us out.
My athletic career at Hen Hud was basically as 1 year as a wrestling as a senior year. I wrestled as a result of Bruce Jersey. And the irony of that took me to, I decided that in college I wanted to play football. And so these guys are aware of the story. So I went to Dean College. Sue Smith was one of the alumnus that from Hen Hud that was there 1 year. She's a class of 84. Mm-hmm. So I go there, and I've never played football in my life. I've never played Pop Warner. I've never played any sort of football. So I spent the summer training at the Hen Hud track up in the seasonal highway. I would go running up through those trails and then just doing push-ups and sit-ups all night long until I fell asleep.
Wow.
And so I went to school. Long story short, finally I said to the coach, hey, I'd like to try out. He goes, did you play in high school? I said, yeah. Played at Hendrick Hudson. He's like, oh, all right, never heard of it. He goes, you look kind of small. Do you have any tape? I said, no. And he goes, okay, tryouts are next week. I mean, you're welcome to open tryouts. Got to get a medical. So long story short, I didn't know how to put the equipment on, so it was in the locker room watching the other players.
Minor detail. Minor detail.
Where do the pads go in the pants? Like, this one is a tail one. I didn't know there was a tail one. There's the thigh one. So I'm like watching how to put the stuff on. And it wasn't until I got on the bus and the current players who had gone through training camp were jeering the walk-ons and screaming epithets and so, cursing at us more or less. And I was like, oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But I did make it was a 2-week tryout. I did make the team, and I did get an offer to come back for the next year for sophomore season. So
wow, that's great.
Yeah, that was my athletic career in short.
His entire college career started on a big lie.
It totally did. But I mean, you had to start somewhere. I mean, I said, you know what?
Yeah.
If I did wrestling,
the truth.
Right. What's that?
Why start with the truth when the lies will get you so much further, right?
Yeah,
I
well,
think
I don't think he would have let me try out. I could show you guys the program. I was 5'8", 138. So that was
Really?
like 6 pounds more than my wrestling weight. So he wouldn't have let me try out. I don't think if he didn't, if I said I had no experience at all, he would have said no.
What happened with Bruce that you had to wrestle? Bruce Jersey.
He said, come out and well, Bruce and I were like, sort of best friends. And he said, you should come out and wrestle. You're at my weight, but come out. And I said, okay. And that was it. So I tried out for wrestling and made wrestling. And I said, well, if I did that, I should be able to do football the same way. And none of my teammates, I had a reunion with my teammates last year. None of them knew I had never played football until this reunion.
Wow.
So, and I haven't seen them since 1986. So
Good story.
It was fun. Yeah. And I actually played semi-pro in football one year.
Really?
So it wasn't like I didn't have any talent at all. I just didn't know if I could or not. I had no idea until I tried it. So
what position semi-pro?
In semi-pro in college I was a corner, and in semi-pro I was outside linebacker, and I did special teams both ways, like kickoff return and stuff.
Nice.
So yeah. Anyway, that is way too much time spent on my meager athletic career. I would have traded it all to have been played more at Hen Hut.
Ken, I think he'll come up a little short for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave.
That's why I said I'd be on the committee. I mean, my God.
I did think that's where he was going with it, Tom. He wanted to see how he could get in.
Oh, God, no. Please.
So,
go ahead, Lynn.
No, so my question is just with that. So what's the process to get someone nominated? Do they apply to be nominated, or is this all research and looking at stats and things like that?
Anyone can be nominated. So anyone can nominate someone. You can go to the Hall of Fame website. There's a form there you fill out and you send it into I think you still send it into Tommy Baker, but it's on the form. Mm-hmm. Anyone can be nominated. We ask you to do some of the research. Like if because this ended up being some of the problem. We had someone that actually a couple of the Statons helped us do all the research on the first few classes. But if they know when you made all league and all section, put that on, there's places to do that. But anyone can be nominated. And that's part of the problem it's not a problem, but people will be like, this is what's a problem and what's great about the Hall of Fame, because it brings up discussions like this. Mm-hmm. But people will say, hey, why isn't so-and-so nominated in the Hall of Fame? And 9 times out of 10 is because they haven't been nominated. Yeah. If you're not nominated, you can't just be put into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So once you're nominated, and that's what I usually say to them, just make sure you nominate them, and then we'll go through the process at that time. This year was a little different in that this, again, was the brainchild of Tommy Baker, in that it's the anniversary of Title IX, and we wanted to make it a female theme. So, but this is the only year it's been like that. Other than that, it's been everyone that's been nominated.
Okay.
So Ken, when is this year's Hall of Fame ceremony, and where is it being held?
Okay, so this year's ceremony is going to be held this Friday at 5:00 in the cafeteria of the Hall of Fame. And like I said, it has a Title IX theme to it. We're inducting 4 coaches: Jim Aarons, Sandra Levine, Joe Locascio, and Barbara Wright. You remember them, Karen?
Yeah.
Then Patricia Gallagher, Linda Cole, Lynn Call, Linda Zoller, and Noreen Karst and Susan Laird are being nominated. And they're going to have what I'm really excited about. They're going to have their ceremony at 5:00 in the cafeteria. And then we're playing in our home tournament. We have a female holiday tournament for the girls basketball team. The boys had theirs this past weekend and won it. They played great. A shout out to Jordan Hirsch. Did a great job with the
great guy.
He's a great guy. Does a great job with the boys. They beat Pelham in the final game. They had a great game. But this year we're having the girls tournament, and we are playing Saunders. We play Saunders in the opening round. Briarcliff plays Mayapack on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the finals are Friday. And then what's going to happen is after their ceremony, they're going to come in between the consolation game and the championship game, and they're going to be presented to everybody at the game. So I'm hoping we pack the house for that game. Believe it or not, we get good turnouts for our games, Tommy. And so this will just bring an added special feature to the game. But there's some great stories in here too. That's
part of the reason why we wanted to get you on tonight, was to drum this thing up. So, right. We'll do everything we can on our end through social media and our Facebook stuff. And hopefully people will watch this as the week goes on. They can tune in at any time. They don't have to watch it live. And, right. Build up to this event on Friday night, and hopefully you get a good crowd in there.
And that's what I'm hoping. The tournaments generally bring a larger crowd to begin with.
Yep.
But this added feature to it's gonna make it very special. Just to get into it a little bit about these coaches, if you don't mind.
No, go.
Love it.
And Marcia Bailey is on our committee too, the Hall of Fame committee, and she is a wealth of knowledge. And she knew a lot about what went on here, because when they started coaching, Barbara Wright, Joe Locascio, Sandra Levine, when they started coaching, they didn't have teams to coach. They had what was called honor teams, which was basically some intramural programs. And then they were the ones that brought it to the forefront when they finally got teams there to coach. They were the ones that took it on. I mean, basically, if you look at the yearbooks and from 1970, 71, 72, somewhere in there, if you look at the yearbooks, the only female teams that were there was like a field hockey team. And then Jim Aarons, when he started teaching and coaching at Hendrick Hudson, he really brought it to the forefront at his time. He saw that the opportunities, weren't being provided to the girls that should be, and he brought it to the forefront. I really wish he was coming. He unfortunately can't attend. He's had some back surgery, so he can't make it up from Florida. He retired down to Florida, so I miss seeing him.
Yeah, I'll talk more about him later. But okay. I think for your girls, your young women that play for you right now, to see these women at their game. And 50 years ago, which doesn't seem like that long ago, I was 50 years ago, right? But 50 years ago, there wasn't even an opportunity for this. Like, wow. I think, Ken, this is just a tremendous thing that you guys are doing, Tommy Baker and you getting this thing going. And your young ladies, what a valuable lesson for them to see right there. Like, these women that were inducted into the Hall of Fame didn't have the same opportunities we had.
I couldn't agree with you more. And to be honest, I haven't even brought this up to them yet because I still have this coaching mentality. It's one game at a time.
You hit that stuff on Thursday.
So I was just thinking about this last night and thinking about this podcast today, and I'm going to give them a little homework assignment on Tuesday night. We have a game tomorrow, but Tuesday, I want them to do a little research so they know, these opportunities that they have weren't available 50 years ago. You're right. That's not that long.
It's really
I know we were only 5, but holy cow, there was not a girls basketball team.
Now think about 72, 50 years ago to 82 and the amount of progress that was made then. Because 82, we were freshmen.
Correct.
There were we didn't know they didn't have teams 10 years before that.
Correct.
I didn't. Dave, did you?
I never knew that.
You?
Dave?
No, I actually want to ask Kate, since we have a female on here, KQ, you played at Hen Hud. What is that feeling to you to see where we're at now?
No, I mean it's great. It's when I was growing up, both my brother, I have 2 brothers, one's 2 years older than me, one is 7 years younger. It's like we grew up in a cul-de-sac when the neighborhood kids always came to our street to play whatever, played ultimate frisbee, played, stickball, wiffle ball, baseball, kickball, football, everything. And it's like, and at that time when I'm in elementary school, we wanted to go out there and play. My dad, no, you're a girl, go. You can't play.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was just, it just wasn't done. And then, as you get older, and again, the opportunity now, I remember in the town of Cortland, the first girl who played in the Little League. Mm-hmm. And what was her name? Cindy Rankin, I think.
Yes.
Her name.
Yes.
Wow. Very good athlete.
Great athlete.
So, and she was the first girl to play in the Little League, and it was like, go girl. She just opened it up for everybody, and like, hey, you know what, we can play too. We don't just have to play hopscotch and jump rope, which I love,
right.
by the way.
Right.
Or play with Barbies.
I love
we
seeing
can be out there and play too.
Absolutely. I mean, you obviously, girls are so much more capable than what we thought in terms of competing physically. I mean, one of the girls I coached in kids jiu-jitsu out in Irvine ended up at Irvine High School, or Portola High School was the name, in Irvine. And a lot of the teams some of the teams didn't have girl wrestlers, so she'd wrestle the boys. And she was just dominating. I think she ended up, at one point, she was number 6 in the nation in female wrestling in her weight class. I don't know where she's at now, but I think she's going to go. She actually could end up on the Olympic team. And she never wrestled before 9th grade. Yeah, before 9th grade. So pretty awesome. Yep.
But even getting back to the opportunities, my oldest daughter, who's 30, when she first started playing soccer, she was in a co-ed league. It was co-ed boys and girls. And then after, I think, 1 or 2 years, we finally, because I work in the recreation department for the town of Cortland, finally separated it. And, they were given the opportunity to play. The girls had their own league and the boys had their own league. So, yeah, slowly but surely, we're getting to where we should be. But there's still things that, Tommy, the NCAA tournament last year, they're complaining about the boys' facilities and the female facilities were much, much different. So there's still strides that need to be made.
In the summer of '90, right before I took over the girls program at Poughkeepsie, I was approached by the recreation director about girls basketball, and I said, well, the first thing you have to do is you have to get the girls out of the boys league.
Right.
And he's like, why? And I said, because they won't play with the boys.
Right.
So he gave me and my wife, I think it was a budget of like $10,000. It was like, this is like summer of '90. And my wife, really, she started it, the Lady Pioneer Summer League.
Wow.
At Tubman Park in Poughkeepsie. The first year, we had like 20 girls in it. That was it. By the time we were done in 2003, we had over like 150 girls in this program. Awesome. All different age brackets. Boys were not allowed in the gym.
Wow.
Sorry, guys, you got your own stuff going on.
Great.
But yeah, I think, like you said, like the separating really helps them, because I think they're able to focus more on what they're doing rather than who's watching them and all that other stuff. And, but yeah, it's got to be equal. It's got to be equal opportunity, and that's awesome. Yeah,
and like you said, I can't wait for my girls to see this whole ceremony.
Awesome.
I'm gonna make them do a little research on Title IX, so they know, what these people had to go through, what these ladies and coaches had to go through, and see how fortunate they are now.
I don't remember Mrs. Levine, I think you said, and Mrs. Wright, I think, retired before we got there. But Locasio, I had for physics.
Correct.
We had Wright and Locasio when we were seniors.
I don't remember Miss Wright. Really?
Well, as gym teacher. Well, or she was
Yeah.
Mrs. Wright retired in 1987.
Who did?
Mrs. Wright retired in 1987. So she was there.
Oh, yeah, she was still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have her though. I had Locasio. She was a sweetheart. She was a great lady. Really super nice. Yeah.
I'm trying to look. Sandra Levine was there.
Who that is?
Only from 1970 and 1974.
Okay.
So a little before your time.
And then in terms of errands, these these guys know how I feel about him. I've said it on this podcast a million times. He's the reason why I became a coach. Seventh grade, Danny Markham and I had him for social studies. We'd sit in his lunchtime. We didn't go to lunch. We sat in his room, read the New York Times sports section, talked basketball. He was the varsity coach at the time. Then he took a little time off, and when he came back, I believe he came back our sophomore year when he had Greg Economo on varsity.
Correct.
Yeah, and we were just so happy he came back. And I tell you, Kenny, he said to me in the summer of '84, he said, "I want you to coach the summer league team." And I said, "What?" I said, "I'm going to play." You know, he goes, "You're going to play?" He goes, "You're going to play and you're going to coach." And I don't know if you know this because you were in college at the time, but Danny Markham and I, we'd come back every summer in college and we would coach those.
Really?
Yeah, Yorktown High School summer league.
Really, I didn't.
We
know
had Derek Kisslinger. We had
yeah.
Julian Rathman. I could name so many different names.
Right.
Seth Eaton.
Right.
And that set me on the path to being, a coach and going, I was going for phys ed anyway, but
right.
I wanted to be a high school coach. And he was, Kenny, I say this all the time, and you could add whatever you want about Coach Aarons. He was the best practice coach that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I learned. I played college basketball, and I had Coach Baker at Ithaca. It doesn't deserve a round of applause. It was.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But I learned more from Mr. Aarons than I ever did from my college coach.
Yes.
Because of the practices.
The practices. Go ahead. You go ahead and I'll finish.
Because of the practices, it made us better in the games, and our college coach did not do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The college coach was a pretty good. He was very good X and O guy.
Yep.
Like if he had to draw up a last minute play, he was fantastic.
Yep.
But to get guys play for him, to get them to play in practice, much different. And I tell my girls all the time, you play like you practice. You play if you're going through the motions in a practice, that's how you're going to play tomorrow. You got to do everything game speed. I learned everything from Mr. Now, and again, not a lot of X's and O's from Mr. Aarons, but just how to coach, how to practice. He broke a lot of
detail.
Correct. He broke a lot of clipboards at halftime speeches and some chalk, but.
Honestly and truly, Ken, more of an imprint. Your Hen Hud playing career or your Ithaca college playing career?
So, by far, the high school playing career. The college. So I played my freshman year. I only played on the JV team up at Ithaca, and then my sophomore year and junior year I played, but my coach I was playing point guard. There's a point guard ahead of me, and my coach had this same subbing pattern. Mm-hmm. He would play the starting point guard. He was better than me. He was better than me. He was quicker than me, a better jump shot. I probably played better defense, but anyway, he would play the first 8 minutes. I'd come in, play the next 4 minutes. He'd play the next 8. And nothing ever changed. So I played basically 8 minutes every game out of a 40-minute game, which I'm not complaining about. What was weird was it didn't matter if he was playing bad for nothing changed. It was almost like alarm clock went off and all right, now it's your time to go on. And then my senior year, the SID, the sports information director at Ithaca, approached me and said, "I have an opportunity for you," because my major was sports management. And, I had all these ideas of going into, the professional sports world and being an agent, whatever. I internship with the New Jersey Nets that summer, but he also the SID came to me and said, would you be interested in working for me for the whole year? And I tell you, I agonized over this decision, Tommy, because I loved basketball.
Yeah.
But I would, it's my senior year. I'm not going to play basketball after my senior year.
Yeah,
This is it. My coach has not changed any of the subbing patterns. Am I going to, play 8 minutes a game or am I going to look for my down the road at my career? This I learned like Mr. Aarons, I learned everything I know today for my professional world from the SID at Ithaca College. His name was Pete Moore.
That's awesome.
He's now at Syracuse University. I see him on the bench. He was phenomenal. It was the best move I ever made.
Yeah,
so my imprint at Ithaca was not much of a basketball career, but learned a lot from the SID. And the best thing about playing sports is, I have friends from those teams to this day still. I just saw them. The Cortland Ithaca football game's a pretty big football game. I saw them all in November. Sports and meeting people and making new friendships is what it's all about. And I still have all those friends.
Kenny, back in those days, that's how it was. Like, you played your position, and God forbid they put 2 point guards on the court at the same time.
Right.
Oh, you mean like Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland? You can't do it. It's impossible.
Yeah,
couldn't do it.
Right?
Can't do it.
Yeah,
it's
couldn't
totally
do it.
different now, and it probably would be different now. But that's how it was back then. Like, the subbing was like so totally different, and we've talked about it in other podcasts. But yeah,
Tommy, I almost put 4 guards. I put 4 guards in the game the other day.
Positionless basketball.
We were trying to press. We were in foul trouble. I've had 4 guards on the court. That would never happen at college.
Yeah. Kenny, how do you feel about I'm put you on the spot here, man. Parents, I haven't coached in college as well as high school. I think too much pressure is put on kids to worry about what's going on next. Where are you going to play in college? Most kids aren't going to play in college. Talk a little bit about how you handle parents and the whole playing at the next level.
Expectations.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Expectations.
Well, that's a real good question, because I see it at 2 different levels. I see, obviously, I'm 27 years in recreation for the town of Cortland.
Yeah.
And I see it in 1st and 2nd grade soccer where I'm like,
yeah,
dude,
come on, people.
Yeah.
They're Dave. I mean, I would tell you the story and you'd be like, no, there's no way that happened in the 1st and 2nd grade. And it has. It has happened.
Yeah.
Like
screaming at the refs. I'll see you in the parking lot.
1st and 2nd grade. They don't even get a 1st and 2nd place trophy, but they're all concerned about, they won 2-1 over us, and then they blew out this other team. All kinds of stories. But as far as the next level of, high school to college, now I've coached 2 Division I athletes so far. Mm-hmm. One graduated, went to Marist, but transferred to BU.
Yeah.
And the other one played Division I softball, Cassidy Boyle. So I had Cassidy Boyle and I had Caitlin Weimer, 2 unbelievable athletes. As far as the parents weren't over the top.
Okay.
Just looking out for the best interest of them. For both, in both instances, they were great parents. But I see a lot where, I'm coaching them, and it's not a reflection on me but they're at halftime, they're looking at the parents talking to them.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, but it's weird because the parents are way too much involved. But like you said with the Division I, they are looking to play the next level, so, they have to take it a little more seriously. But out of, 14 years, I've coached, over 200 girls, and I have 2 Division I athletes.
I don't think the problem comes in so much, right, Ken, with the D1 kids, because those kids are that's another level. It's the kids that are at a Division II or Division III level, and the differentiation between those. Having coached at a Division III school, we had kids that we only recruited Division II level players, and we got them because our school was better academically than some of the D2 schools, and you got to convince the parents of that. And then once they get that and see your facilities, but I just think and it goes into the whole AAU thing that you're dealing with too, probably, right? I don't know. I just think kids today, parents today, enjoy what you have when you have it, because it's not going to last forever. Yeah. I'll just tell a quick story. I went to my son's coaching JV basketball up in Wilmington, and my wife and I are just sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, I don't think I could go back to coaching high school basketball after having coached in college for a few years, because screaming at the referees, screaming at the coaches. It's just like, I don't know. It's kind of sad in one way. High school athletics is it's the best part of your life, Ken. You just said it, right? Best part. I mean, so much better than college, right?
Tommy, so John Glassoff, Hen Hud graduate.
Yep.
We say this all the time in the locker rooms. Yeah, I mean, I still, this is going to sound corny, but our last game almost every year, I cry in the locker room. And, you know, it started with my daughters when I was like, oh my gosh, it's my last game I'll ever coach you. And I all of a sudden the tears start. But John Glassoff and I say, girls, you are going to remember you're going to remember these years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The rest of your life. You will remember these years and these stories to the point where the Hen Hud Hall of Fame, we had a guy, class of 1959. He's telling us stories like it happened yesterday.
Awesome.
And that's what it is. The high school sports.
Yep.
You know, I've talked to Mike Dixon, Brian Kelly, all these guys on the soccer team that we did the pool with. I still talk to them. You know, I'm 54 years old.
Right.
Not as old as you guys, Karen and Tom.
Woo! That's right. You're always going to be a junior classman to us, Ken, no matter how great you are. But I do want to say this, and I won't wait till the end to say it. But you were actually, I mean, I was, you know, new in the school, and you were very kind to me. As you know, I mean, you were an athlete, and you know, somebody that, you know, was a personality in the schools, and I was basically came in there as nobody, and you were very, very nice to me. And I haven't forgotten that.
Oh, I appreciate that, Dave.
Yes,
I mean, well, like Tommy would say, you know, our parents, you know, had a big influence on our lives, and you want to treat people the way you want to be treated. So that's, you know, how I grew up. So unfortunately, just lost my dad, and I miss him. But, you know, that's the one thing that was great about Hen Hud. My dad, you know, coaching at Hen Hud, he still came to every game. Great support system, and I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I revere
And
you
you know,
guys that had that. Go ahead.
I think it's not just the, you don't have to put me on the big screen, please.
It's so beautiful.
It's not just the high school sports, high school in general.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is something you'll never forget. And now here I'm going to go after you now, Shermy.
Oh, geez.
My senior year, I don't know, and I think you just did it just because you were being an annoying boy. Do you remember this? You didn't speak to me almost the entire senior year, and it's like, I don't know why. We were friends.
I really did that?
Yes.
Why did I do that?
KQ.
Because you were just and you were like ignoring me, but it was like a fun ignore.
Not on purpose. Not on purpose.
Oh, 1,000% it was on purpose.
Oh!
And do you know when you broke that? When you talked to me again, I was having a bad day, as high school girls can have sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I was walking down the hall, and I looked at you or something, and you just did that again. And I started crying. And then you're like, oh my God, Karen, I'm so sorry. And then it was broken, and then you started talking to me again. It took a long time.
Well, I'm glad you were crying that day.
It was, yeah,
Love
it's something I've never stopped doing.
Really?
But yeah, it was just you know, these high school experiences, and it's like I was never mad at you for it, and see, you don't even remember. So I'm like, please take me off the big screen.
That's
please.
why I don't think it was on purpose.
Oh, it was on purpose. But you did it in a way like to be just a nudge.
Funny?
I think you thought it was
I love
because
it. Ken's looking for any way out. Is there any escape from this?
Out.
Hey,
Right,
go on to the next question, Dave.
Tell her you're sorry, Ken.
I'm sorry, Karen.
Thank you, junior class.
Episode.
Jeez.
You know, I'm gonna when you're. So now I'll go back. So you're talking about like the young girls that have so much pressure on them, like with their parents, and about like you were saying about the next level. So I'm really going to try and be quick about this. So my daughter does competitive gymnastics, and she's 13 now. I know I'm an old parent. Let's just get over that. You know, at starting at like 12 years old, she trains 20 hours a week, which is ridiculous.
Right.
But to be at the level that she is, that's how much they have to train. And it's like her coach is at this age is preparing them to be D1 athletes. And I was like, I have to get my daughter out of 8th grade. I cannot even think about college right now. I have enough trouble getting her out of bed in the morning to do that. But it's like 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, she's at practice from 4:30 to 8:30, which is crazy. She's eating dinner at 3:00.
Right.
So I think training that hard, it takes away from like the whole family experience. Like, your girls, how often were you home for dinner? Or how often are you home?
We were eating dinner at strange times too, Karen.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a huge commitment.
It's a huge commitment. And plus the way my daughters were spaced out, if we weren't in one gym, we were going to another gym for another game. I mean, we always tried to eat Sundays dinner at home because we didn't have as much going on Sundays. Right. So it was Sunday dinner at home. But I also think that the gymnastics is such a specialized sport that, you know, that 4:30 to 8, that is a big,
oh my God,
big
4:30 to 8:30, and the gym is a half an hour from our house, so she's getting home at 9:15, 9:30, and then it's like, okay, do you have any homework, or do you want to eat dinner now? And don't forget, you got to take a shower because, you know, they're saturated.
That's nuts.
I'm surprised she doesn't hear me. She's not banging on the door. You know, Dave, how she loves to walk in when we're podcasting.
Yeah, what's up, home girl? She needs to be a guest. I want to throw some out here for my classmate Danny O'Brien. Danny says, "I'll let people know that have Danny on Facebook." That he deleted all 4 of his Facebook accounts. He was hacked. So if anybody requests money, it may be coming from some Saharan Africa nation like Nigeria. And it is not him. It's been reported to Facebook. Thank you very much.
So
thank you, Danny.
Send money to Danny. Got it.
All right.
And thank you, Danny, for just being such a great supporter.
Yeah, he's on here every week. We gotta get him on.
Yeah, I know. Danny was a beast, man. As he said here, he wrestled. He started in 1980. He graduated in 84, so he wrestled all 4 years from 167 to 177. I remember seeing your classmate and my teammate, Sean Blakely, was 167. I was like, man, this guy's a giant compared to me, man.
Sean was big, yeah.
He was, man. He was a beast, man. I remember wrestling with him in practice and just be like, man, I don't know how sure I can move this guy. But anyway,
then you had Doug McHale was a wrestler, Bruce Jersey.
Yep, they were on my they were my teammates.
All those
guys. Rich McHale.
Richie was very good
before he became amazing and a Hall of Famer and everything else.
Right.
Brian Kelly, we'd also we need to get him. You know, not such a big talker, but would love to have Brian on. I've seen him a lot when I go home. You know,
he was a great athlete.
Has he been nominated?
He's in. He's in. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He should be in.
He was in. I believe 2 years before. 2 years before I got in.
Yeah. No brainer.
But, I mean, he was no brainer. But he's not a big Dave. He's not a big.
He's not. I know. I've had dinner with him because I'm friends with Lisa Callum. You know.
Oh yeah.
So Lisa would be running around for track while we were doing wrestling, and Hank Callum was my teammate on JV. So, yeah, I'm friendly with both those guys.
Right.
Man, just so much awesomeness at Hen Hud. It really was, these guys have heard me say ad nauseum, it was such an incredible experience, and I'm so glad that we're able to continue it. So we've got work for you, Ken. So you've got to get us all 5 of the girls that are being inducted. You have to get us, I know, you might take some notes, a couple of your...
I'm trying.
Sherman's like, I was just here.
Oh no!
It's just the beginning.
Yeah. So it's sing that song from Chicago. It's only the beginning. We would like to get a couple of your players on so that we can talk Hen Hud now and then.
I think that's a great idea.
Please.
What I want to do is I'll just think about who would be a good fit for this format.
Yeah, maybe grab a male player as well. I think that'd be cool.
Okay.
With the boys team.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that.
We will dial up. Yeah,
Tommy,
male
did
and
you try to get Coach Aaron's on?
I did not reach out yet. No, I did not.
Okay.
No.
I would love to have him, like you mentioned, coming on with some of the 86ers athletes. Would love to have you guys on as well. I want, someone from whatever class.
Okay.
Definitely 88, 89, And by the way, Carissa Charles, if you're watching, love, you were supposed to get us a couple of high school kids, but we're going to have to go to Coach Ken Sherman to get the job done. Hall of Famer.
Listen, I will be in touch with Tom. Well, I now have all your numbers, which is great. But I'll definitely get someone in the basketball program, male and female, to come on whenever you guys want. But like you guys have said, I just want to reiterate, it's a hen hut. The hen hut was a great time of year. I mean, great part of our lives.
Yeah,
yes.
Something you never forget. And for me, sports made it just a little more better. Because of the friendships you keep throughout the years.
Ken, talk a little bit while we have a little bit of time left. Talk a little bit about what you're doing in terms of town of Cortland Rec.
So I'm the deputy director of recreation for the town of Cortland. That's been there 27 years, and we run. I run the summer camps. For the town, we run soccer programs, basketball programs. We run adult programs. A lot of pickleball. Tommy is a big.
There you go. There you go.
South Carolina's famous.
It's becoming big.
pickleball.
It's big up here now. It's
getting
big.
is.
I mean, to the point where there's the residents are screaming and yelling. We don't have enough courts now for them. So. So I do that for the town. I've done it for 27 years. I'm hopefully my boss might be retiring soon. I'll be the director of recreation, hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed on that. So I've been doing that. It's great. I mean, I obviously I grew up here in the Village of Buchanan, still live in the Village of Buchanan.
I wish I lived in the Village of Buchanan instead of Florida, but that's neither here nor there.
So it was a great transition for me when I started with the town of Cortland, because I knew all the custodians in the gyms we were using, and I knew the athletic directors at Panis and Hen Hud, and it was an easy fit for me, and it's just been worked out great.
That's awesome.
And there's 4 recreation supervisors that work, what we call in the back, and we talk sports, and we talk about parenting problems, and it's when you love what you do, it's a good thing.
It's not working, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
correct.
I tell my kids that all the time. Follow your passion.
Yep.
I would love to know. This is an obscure question, but to me, it's interesting. You guys might not find it interesting. I wonder what our record lifetime is in the various sports against Panis. So men's football, men's basketball, women's basketball.
Are just
wrestling,
our
softball.
years? Are you talking about just our?
I would love to know all time,
Yeah.
because our
Good
years.
luck.
No, I would love to know our record against Penn. I really would.
So Mr. Kelly was the basketball coach at Walter Panis when we were at Hen Hud, right, Dave?
Brian Kelly's dad? No.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
the joke was he never beat us, which he did. He never beat us. What about your year, Tommy? Did he beat you?
I don't think so.
He did. Well, when Brian and I played, so Brian obviously was my best friend. We would play in Brian's backyard, play basketball there, and we would just ride him to no end because he never beat us.
So, all right, subjectively, what do you think the record is of what you know?
I could in every sport, Dave.
No, in the sports that you know, what you know.
No, you couldn't because it fluctuates so much.
Okay.
Probably every 2 or 3 years it fluctuates, where in a certain sport, baseball they're down, and basketball they're up, and soccer they're down. I couldn't even venture a guess.
Yeah.
What is their base?
Tommy?
Write that down as homework, Sherman. Figure that out, okay?
No, I'm not gonna. That's not the homework. We got other homework for him.
No, the guests I'll get you those stats. The other thing with that is, I mean, if you look at Jim Aarons, he was not a record guy, right, Tommy?
No.
you could tell you. We would say what was our record in 1986. He couldn't tell you. Where I keep everything. So he just wasn't that type of coach.
Right.
No, he wasn't.
What is their base like compared to ours at Panis? Are they drawing from a larger pool? What does it look like? Their demographic compared to the Hendrick Hudson demographic?
Well, it's just it's an interesting dynamic. The whole town. So, I work in the town of Cortland. We encompass Lakeland School District, Hendrick Hudson School District, and the Croton School District.
Right.
So we get, for the town programs, we get all of them. Mm-hmm. But even so, the Panis and Hen Huds, the sizes are the same. The graduating,
really? Okay.
Yes. But Lakeland, there's Lakeland High School too. So
bigger.
Lakeland School District,
Right.
there's really double us, but they have 2 high schools, which are the same, and we're all graduating about the same.
Okay.
We're all Class A schools for basketball.
What is there 2 high schools other than what's the
Lakeland High School and Walter Panis?
Lakeland.
Oh, okay. So Lakeland School District is split between Panis and actual Lakeland. Interesting.
Correct. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I'll tell you
what
what.
about so Croton doesn't have their own rec department?
They do, but Croton is in the town of Cortland. So there are programs that their recreation department that they run. They do have Croton has a summer camp that Croton residents go to, but Croton can also come to ours. They have the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Just like the Village of Buchanan too, Karen. Village of Buchanan hosts their own summer camp, but Village of Buchanan isn't part of the town of Cortland.
Interesting.
Yeah, it really is. And it makes it tough. Like when I talk to other recreation professionals, like the Village of Mamaroneck, all go to the Mamaroneck High School. People in Pleasantville Recreation all go to Pleasantville High School. People in Cortland Recreation are going to Croton, Lakeland, Panis,
and Hen Hud. Wow.
So it gets tough. We have some travel teams, and that gets a little sticky. Sometimes, they only took 7 kids from Hen Hud, or they only took 3 from Panis, so they took 7 from Hen. So that can get sticky sometimes, but it seems to always all work out eventually.
What an amazing place. I love coming back there. I love driving around there. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Scenic.
It's a great spot. I mean, there are times I where I'm on the Hudson River and you're like, you could be on vacation here. You could look and take a picture and say, oh, I'm on vacation, but you're right down the road from your house.
I do come on vacation there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Karen.
You're right, Karen.
What'd she say? I missed that. What'd you say, KQ?
You take it for granted.
Yeah.
Growing up here because, you live in Croton on Hudson? Yeah. Right on the river? I'm like, We used to walk down to the river, cross the train tracks, and go fishing, and that was I would never let my kids do that now, but
I'll tell you what you got to do. Dave, have you been down to our Cortland Waterfront Park in Verplank? It's beautiful now.
I don't think so.
So we have a concert series there.
Okay.
Remember the seaplanes that used to land in the river?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Yep.
Dave, how do you consider yourself a Hen Hud sailor not seeing the seaplanes?
This is the problem. I still have lots to learn. I lived on the edge of Peekskill when I was growing up.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was way out there, Furnace Woods Road at the end.
Yeah.
So it's kind of far from the
So anyway, there was 2 hangars and there was like a mobile homes near there, probably about 20 mobile homes. Well, that's all been cleared out. It's like all park space now.
Yeah, it's
and
beautiful.
we have our waterfront movie series. We have drive-in, not a drive-in movie, but you can bring your chairs and watch a movie. But we also have the summer concerts. We have about 6 summer concerts. It's beautiful. You can see down to the Tappan Zee Bridge. I'll still call it the Tappan Zee Bridge, but it's a great spot. Next time you're in town, you got to stop down there.
I will. I'll be there this summer. I will be there. I will swim across the Hudson again for the third. I think this is 4th year. Yeah, I've done it like the last 2 years or 3 years. I think.
Really?
3 years maybe. Yeah.
Is Tommy joining you?
No,
He looks
actually,
interested.
the boat driver is Jody Carroll.
Oh,
And then,
jeez.
And so he drives the safety boat and he leads me across. But last year we had, usually it's just Jody and I, nobody else is there. Last year, Karathanassis was in the boat, Stewie, Carissa Charles, the Hen Hud swimming legend, was there to inspire me. Jill Corey was in there, and Paige Miller. So there was a
Wow.
full boat. Yeah.
Wow.
I was in danger of sinking it when I got in. So at the end.
And you've done that 3 times?
Yeah. I'm going to do
Holy
it
cow.
next year.
That,
So,
you know what? That could get you in the Hall of Fame.
no, that's a
Oh, there
great
you
thing.
go.
I'd like to get Googleman in the water with me since he promised.
Oh,
So
really?
That's my goal. Yeah, Googleman is supposed to swim with me. So we'll see if he's sufficiently ready this year.
Good luck
So-
with that.
Yeah, exactly. I got to go to work on it. Me and Karathanassis will go to work on him. But man, Ken, man, we'd like to have you back on, man. This was tons of fun, brother.
And anytime, like I said, I will do my homework and I'll get some current athletes, and I'd love to come back on. This was great.
Yep, you'll lead the 86er contingent,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
And yeah, is that it? Oh, and ask those ladies, tell them we would like to honor them on this show. So that
Sounds
those
great.
5 ladies.
I
would like
will
to.
I will talk to them and I will get them on.
So
That'll
it's
be
this
awesome.
Friday night.
This Friday night, 5
Say it again.
o'clock. You can come to the Hen Hud cafeteria. If you can't make that, it'll be in between the 2 consolation game and the championship game. The first game is at 5 o'clock on Friday. So about 6:30, 7:45, they'll have the ceremony in the gym. Love to see you there, and then stay and support our girls basketball team, and hopefully we get hopefully we're in the championship game. But
Yeah. Well, hopefully we pack the gym for you there, Ken. Ken,
I hope so.
In my parting shot is I just want to tell you how proud I am and happy I am for you. I coach girls basketball. I know how hard it can be at times to, get equal footing. What you've done with that program, uncharted waters is what I say, winning a sectional championship. Congratulations to you. And obviously your whole family's involved with it, and congratulations to them. And I know the commitment it takes. It kind of drove me out of coaching for a few years, but it's just a great job, Ken. I'm really happy for you and proud of Hen Hud girls basketball.
Thanks, Tommy. It means a lot coming from
Yep.
you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
KQ.
I was just going to say the same thing. Congratulations on all of your success, and again, your family to be so supportive of the kind of schedule that you have to keep.
You're absolutely right, Karen. I mean, I have a great support system. My wife's always there. My girls have been fantastic. I mean, my middle daughter, my younger daughter, they and Kim still come to games.
Somebody's in the background. Who's that?
Cam, that's my youngest. She comes.
Hey.
I'm say hello quick.
Yeah, what's up, Kim?
She played for me. The other thing I'm proud of, Tommy, I'll just put in a little plug for them. All 3 of them played college lacrosse.
Is she the one that played at Oswego?
Cameron played at Oswego.
I saw her play at New Paltz that day.
Yes, you did. You did
Yeah.
see her. My middle one played Division II lacrosse at Southern Connecticut, and my oldest daughter, Kelsey, who I coach with, played at Western New England College. So
That's awesome.
I'm so
Wow.
proud of them, and
That's awesome.
it's great. Like I said, God's been good, so I'm very happy.
It's awesome.
I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, Dave. I
I'm not-
appreciate it.
How are you
Excuse
able to juggle their games with your coaching games? Once they were in college.
Thankfully, there were 2 different seasons, so I would be just about wrapping up basketball, and because I did go to Karen, we were crazy, but we loved it. Cameron went to Oswego. My wife and I would work till 12. We'd drive up for a 4 o'clock game, watch a 2-hour game, and drive 4 hours back.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we love.
Oswego, that's a lovely
going.
ride.
What was that, Tom?
Oswego's a lovely ride.
I love
Route
it,
17.
Ooh.
I love
But-
that commitment.
No, but Dave, we loved it. We loved watching them compete. I'm so happy that they played because, like we said, I mean, they played lacrosse. There's like 20, 25 girls on the team. You have 20, 25 friends, like that.
Yeah. Yes.
So we're very fortunate.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you and have a beer when I come back there in
We'll
August.
go down to the Paradise, definitely.
Yep. Get some of the 86ers to come down and manja out on some food with us.
Sounds great.
So for the Hen Hutters and Montrose Buchanan Verplank folks, give us a like if you would on Facebook. We have a page which is called Making Waves with the Hen Hud Class of 85 and Friends. I know I have that banner here somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. And also, yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is our Facebook. We just made a Facebook page just so that we could broadcast live. Right now we're broadcasting on the Class of 85 page, on the Making Waves page, and on YouTube. So give us a like and a subscribe on there. If you haven't had enough of seeing a meathead like myself, this is my other show, Calling All Beings, the UFO show, which is I have two co-hosts on here, and we get some amazing guests on there. We talk a little, we've sort of branched off of not only UFOs, but we talk a little Bigfoot and some paranormal and some consciousness and things of that nature. What else do we have to promo? Oh wow, look at that. We look like the Brady Bunch now. We can do this stuff.
Can I do one more thing?
You know what, KQ? You always ask questions when we're rapping. Go for it, girlfriend.
I do. I know, and I'm so sorry. But let's not even
love
just
that about you.
Ken, you're talking about, since this is Class of 85 and Friends, can we give a shout out to your wife, Kim Hansen, Class of 83?
Correct. We definitely can. Definitely. Class of 83, and obviously all three of my daughters from Hen Hud, all their classes, but Class of 83, yep. She was, I believe, a swimmer at Hen Hud for a little bit and a cheerleader. So she did do her part in some athletics. She's not quite in the Hall of Fame yet either, Dave.
She's going to get there before. I'm never getting there in this lifetime. Maybe the next one, I'll be an athlete at Hen Hud in the next life. So that's fine. Like I've told these guys, I'm just happy to be part of the school, to have met all these people that inspired me and everything that came after in my career, which I'm not getting into on this episode. We'll talk about it over a beer. But all of that was made possible by started at Hen Hud.
Well, I'm so glad you do this. This is great. I got to check the Danny Markham one. I got to check up on a couple of the other ones, but saw the Bruce Fulgham one, and I'm glad you guys included me in on this one.
Ken, let me just tell you how cool it was that we had Mark Lamache on.
Yeah, it was great.
And he had an anecdote that involved Todd Casablanca. And as a result of Todd joining us our dinner back at home, I now had his phone number, and I texted him a link, and boom, he jumped on that episode. Co-hosted the rest of the way, and basically we laughed our backside off for the rest of the show. It was great.
So I got to watch that one too.
It was insanity. I wasn't a part of that one, but
no,
it was insanity. But it's like, I'm looking at Shermy and how well he's. I think we have another host.
Yeah, Shermy can fill in, baby.
No, I'll watch.
Let's go,
I'll watch.
I recruited T-Bell. I can recruit you.
I love it.
I'm gonna get you some recruits. I'll get you some recruits. But this has been awesome.
I'm the nominating committee.
Yep. Whatever she says, I'm just gonna go let yes, ma'am, you are. Thank you again, Coach. We look forward to talking to some of your players. We look forward to talking to the 86ers. You guys had amazing personalities. And we also want to talk to those Hall of Famers and honor them with this little ditty we call Making Waves.
That's great. Thank you.
All right. So for Karen Quinn, for Tom Bell, and for the man, Coach Ken Sherman, this is Dave San Marco from the Class of 85 saying peace out, one love. We'll see you down the road. And as always, we're wondering what's up around the bend.